Evening, everybody. This is Dr. Hack, and we're going to kick off a little segment today on the endgame. We're going to make you guys into endgame geniuses. Now, the endgame is like eating your vegetables, right? When you're a kid, it's not the most pleasant thing, but you need it in order to grow big and strong, right? Muscle tone likes milk and it shows and all that stuff. So here's how we're going to do this. Now, I want to say before we get going here that I have been missing in action for about 3 months here, and I've been very sick. I've been in and out of hospital and all kinds of stuff. So thanks for sticking around if you did. And let's continue on learning how to become chess masters, huh? This is going to be a drill that we're going to kind of adapt here. And you can play this with your friends. I suggest you do. You can't really put it on a computer engine because the computer doesn't get the goal of it, right? But the goal is to take the white king, focus your attention down here, and you want to move him into these 9 squares at the top while the person that's playing this king tries to stop you. Okay? Now this should be a win with the white king every time if you do it right. Should be. But we're going to see in a minute that it's much harder to do than you would think. Now, this program that I'm using doesn't allow me to make any moves because it thinks the game's a draw. So I'm also going to add a couple of pieces to the board. You're going to just have to ignore them and just act like they don't exist. All right. And now take the king, pause the video if you'd like to try it on your own, and try to work him up into these 9 squares with the black king stopping you. All right. So the first thing that 100% of my students that come in try, they all do this, is they try just to take the direct path first. And that is fine. It's good to know why that doesn't work, right? We need to know. And so with black, I'm just going to make the correct moves, and we're going to talk about why a little later down the video here. And as we start to make the white king get closer to his goal, the black king is going to try to stop him, and he's going to manage it here. And now as the white king moves, the black king will always shadow him right in front, and we notice that the white king can never cross this row. No matter which way he goes, with the black king sitting directly in front of him, he just can't make progress. Oof, right? So this is a moment where we understand that there is a relationship between the two kings, because if you were playing the black king and you were trying to make progress up the board, let's say you just wanted to cross the 5th row with the black king, that's all you were trying to do. You can do that whenever you want because the white king has to move out of your way. And if we wanted to move across the 5th row, we could right now, right? Also, if we want white to not move across the 5th row, we can always do that. So one king has a powerful relationship to the other one. He can do whatever he wants. He can stop you or he can make progress on his own. The other king cannot. He's always being stopped or unable to make progress. Okay? And that relationship between the kings drives the majority of pawn endings. Okay? This is a really important one. And it has a name. I don't usually use the name. I will tell you because that way you can look it up if you'd like to. It's called opposition. I hate that name because it doesn't describe it well enough, right? This relationship of power where one king can move around the board all he wants to, and the other one's completely hamstrung. Can't do it. Okay? So let's go back to the beginning. Let's figure out why that happened. Okay? Watch the first move that I made. I moved to a black square on the B file. We're going to use geometry to do this. And the black king moved on to a black square on the B file. Okay, now we move on to a black square on the C file. And the black king moves on to a black square on the C file. And now we start to notice something about the geometry of a chessboard. Whenever the kings sit a single square between them, they're always sitting on the same color. There's a black square here and a black square here. And that little crutch can help us understand the power relationship between the kings when they're anywhere on the board. Okay? So if we now go back to the beginning, and this king were to move here, if the black king wanted to retain his position of power when they met in the middle, he has to move on to a white square on the B file now. And now he has to move on to a white square on the C file. And if this king goes to the left, he has to move on to a white square on the B file. And we notice that now he retains that position of power. One square between them, the white king cannot make any progress. And if the black king wants to make progress, he surely can. Okay, and he can even come over one before he makes progress. And here we go, we're in, right? So that's how you do it. Now, that's how this guy becomes the powerful king. How does this guy become the powerful king? Because we said white can win every time if he knows how to do it. Well, we tried this one, that didn't work, because black could just move on to a black square. We could try this one, but that doesn't work. What does that leave, right? The only move that you can use to win this drill is to move the king directly up one square. Because now this king is on a white square on the A file, and we just moved onto a white square on the A file. Now the white king has the position of power in this relationship. And as they meet in the middle, we're going to find that to be true. Because the black king has a move, and he has to get out of the way, one way or the other, and that will allow the white king to move across the fifth row if he wants to. Now it turns out that he probably doesn't want to unless the black king were to go this way, and then we just continue on our way and win, right? So if he continues this way, now we go, do we want to go there? Well, we could cross the fifth row. That's nice. That's the first time we've ever done that, right? Progress. But now we're on the same color, on the same rank, and we have the same problem moving sideways now. We can move up and down the board, and the black king will have the position of power to the side now. Oof, that didn't work. So instead, we're going to have to follow him across with the king. And when we reach the moment where there is a goal square on either shoulder of the king, that's when we can start to make progress again, because if he goes this way, we can make a forward progress to try to win. And if he moves this way, we can make forward progress to try to win. And the problem with black is that in order for him to stop us, he would have to jump like a knight to end up here. We notice that this is the thing that he can't do. He could stop us from the side now, but he cannot stop us from the front because his king is not that fast. And therefore, when we move to the side now, he's got to get out of our way one more time. Left or right, whichever way he goes, we now reach our goal. And we've won the game. Or the drill. That's how it works. And you can always tell how it works based on which color square the king is sitting on which file. We could drop the kings anywhere, right? And we have to move on to that color square on that file. Or somehow outsmart our opponent so that we could do that. Very good. This is the basis of pawn endgames, and it is a big thing, right? Now, this doesn't win the game. This is a tool to use to win the game. Because you'll notice that if we ever were to get this relationship, and look, black has it. Black has the power relationship. Well, what happens if we tell... Oh, I did that wrong. What happens if we make black move again, right? Let's move till they're close so you can see it really happen. Now, black is standing in white's way. White can't move forward. But what happens if we waste a turn? Well, now it's his turn, and he's got to get out of our way. All of a sudden, the white king became the powerful king, and the black king became the weak king. This relationship changes quite often as we make other moves that are not king moves. If you have a bishop on the board, you can almost never use this technique because the bishops are so good at wasting a turn when they need to. Knights, they're okay at wasting turns. They're not as good, but there's another reason for that we'll get to eventually. Pawns, you move a pawn, it changes the move, so the other guy gets the power. I hope all this makes sense. I hope this is a good, sturdy start and a foundation to understanding what we're about to do, which is eat your vegetables. You guys have a good one. Take care now.